Hey there, my name's Mike and you're watching the first ever video of this printed thing. This YouTube channel is going to focus on 3D printing, obviously, but more on the start to finish process. You see, here's the thing. I'm constantly designing and printing my own things. So I figured I might as well set up a camera and show you guys what I do. So today we're going to be focusing on a specific tool for a specific use. And well, here, just come with me. Let me show you what I got. So I'm outside here at my house, and behind me is a lifetime smoker that my wife got me for Christmas last year. And I gotta say, I love this thing. I love to grill for my family. I have a pretty big family, so I needed a pretty good smoker, and this one really is a good smoker. No, Lifetime is not a sponsor of this video. But here's my dilemma. So it's a pellet smoker. Got my pellets here, and during the cooking process, I put pellets in the hopper here, and they get pulled into the burner. The burner burns the pellets, creates smoke. Okay, so what I have to do after I'm done grilling is I have to open this, pull this out, or slide this out, and it opens a door here that releases all the pellets, because you're not supposed to leave the pellets in the hopper after you're done cooking, because moisture can get into the pellets and it pretty much renders them disgusting. And so I got to remove that, and I've been using, just whatever container I can find. I'm gonna design and print a container specifically for catching the pellets that come out of that. That way I don't have to go to the kitchen and grab something, try and find something to use, or go to the garage and try and find something to use, and I'm not having to try and catch them with the bag. I'm going to design something and 3D print it. Let's get to work. So my program of choice for drawing and shaping my designs is Shapr3D. Now, again, Shapr3D is also not a sponsor of this video. I don't even have any sponsors. This is my first dang video. Quit asking. Anyway, so what I've got here is the main part of what I'm building. This will just go under the hopper. When I open the hopper, all the pellets will just drop into this. But for convenience, I wanted it to have a handle on the side. Now, with 3D printing, as I'm sure some, most, or all of you are aware, you cannot just print things in midair. And so this handle I created separately, and it'll print separately, and then I'll just glue it on. Now, I know that it would probably be okay to just make the handle part of this object here and just print it all as one piece. I just like to be practical about things and try to make things as nice as possible. And I know that if I were to make the handle as part of this, there's some overhang there, and it would have to be supported. And I just try to avoid that. And it's nothing for me to use just a little bit of super glue to glue these pegs into these holes. But anyway. So this is a piece that I already designed. Going forward, I'd like to design these things before your eyes so that you can see kind of the process. Shapr3D is a really good tool for designing even complex parts. It's, in my opinion, I mean, they're probably not in competition now, but in my opinion, I think Shapr3D is probably going to give Fusion 360 a run for its money, just because of how easy it is. I happen to be using this on my iPad because I can use the pencil with it, but there's a Windows application as well as a Mac application, and they all seem to work really well. Go to Shapr3D's website if you'd like more information. It's not a very expensive program, so you can even get access to it pretty easily. So, not sure what happened here. I accidentally tapped something apparently. But anyway, let's render this out to a 3MF file so we can feed it to our 3D printer, and let's get this thing printed. So now I'm here on my PC. It's a Windows PC, and because Shapr3D syncs with the cloud, I could be working with this on my iPad as I just was. Then I can come to my PC and open the same project exactly how I left it on my iPad. And it just works really well. So I'm going to export this to a 3MF file. Going to save it as pellet catcher. That's what we're calling this thing. Now I'm going to bring it into Cura. Cura is the slicer that I typically use just because it's very easy to use and you get a lot of tweaking that you can do. So I'm going to go ahead and open this model. Now you see this big square here, this big cube, that represents our print volume. And so we can see that our model is going to fit within our print volume. I'm going to go ahead and center this big piece here. And let's just pull this piece. I'm going to go ahead and print both of these pieces at the same time on the same build plate. And I'm going to use Hatchbox PLA. That's typically what I use for most of my prints. I'm using PLA because, well, the hopper on the grill doesn't get very hot. In fact, it doesn't get hot at all. It's not connected to the part that actually heats up. So I could easily use PLA and safely use PLA to catch the pellets, and then from there I just dump them in the bag anyway. So PLA is a perfectly good material to use. So we're going to use, let's see, we're going to print at, I'm going to print this at 205 degrees Celsius. With PLA, I'd like to print with a hotter temperature while still within the parameters that Hatchbox tells you to use for their PLA. I find a hotter temperature gives me a better print. Now support, I talked about support earlier in that this part here is still going to need to be supported, but that's really the only part that's going to need support. And so I'm going to give it until at 80% overhang. That should make it so that this is really the only part that's supported. So I'm going to slice it. You can see it's going to take about 20 hours according to Cura. But if we look, give it a preview here. So this is the only support that's going to be generated. It shouldn't have any problems printing anything else. Even this, I mean, it does have kind of a gradient angle. If I were really concerned about it, what I could do is I could do tree support, and in fact, let's go ahead and do that just for show and tell here. I'm going to reslice it with tree support and see what it does. And yeah, it's taking a lot longer to slice because that tree support is a little bit more complicated, and it's probably going to use a little bit more material too as a result. Just keep waiting. There we go. So what that'll do is it'll give us another little tree to go up here, and really the only part that needs to be supported on this overhang is this. Well, you know, dadgummit. I'm a perfectionist. Let's give it a little bit more. Because I know that that's probably going to come back to bite me in the end. And I don't like getting bitten. So, come on, Slicer. You can do it. There we go. So you can see that gives us a little bit more surface. My concern was that we have this layer right here that sticks out a little further, and what it's going to do is it's going to print this outer wall, and it's going to have to make that kind of sharp turn inward. So I wanted that to be supported, but everything else looks like it's supported well enough. This is the only other piece that needs to be supported. Let's get this thing printed. Real quick, before I send the print job to the printer, I wanted to show you what I've got here. This is an Anycubic Vyper that I purchased earlier this year, and it's been a good printer. It is not fully stock. You can see I did some custom work here. It comes with the print head. It comes with an enclosure that includes a couple of kind of weak fans for blowing on the plastic coming out of the nozzle. So I upgraded it with this ductwork here that I actually 3D printed from this printer, and added a bigger blower. So now you can see down in there we've got these ducts here that blow directly on the plastic, and it does a pretty good job. And then this bracket here to mount everything on, that cools the heat break and the nozzle. And then I have just a regular brass nozzle for this print. And this has been a good printer. Let's go ahead and send the job to the printer and see how she turns out. Now that it's printed, I have it here next to my grill, and I just got done making dinner for my family. I'm going to use this to get all the pellets out of the hopper. So the hopper is here full of pellets. I'm going to put this here, open up this. And there were a lot more pellets in the hopper than my pellet catcher could hold, but it works, as if there was any doubt. So yeah, it works. I could have made it bigger. I didn't really know how big to make it because I didn't really know the volume of the hopper, and usually I don't have that many pellets left when I'm done cooking a meal. But yeah, it took about, I don't know, 20-ish hours, 21-ish, 22-ish hours, somewhere around there to print. The only issue I really had was down here along the bottom. Because of this fillet, there was somewhat of an overhang on all sides. And so it got a little bit messy, but it corrected itself during the print. And this is just something for me. I'm the only one that's ever gonna see this other than you guys, but I'm the only one that's ever gonna own one of these. So I don't see the need to reprint it unless I were to make a bigger version that would be able to catch everything that comes out of the hopper regardless of how many pellets are left. But I would say this is a success. Obviously, this is a very basic project. There's nothing too awfully complicated about this, but we can create more complicated things, and I'd be interested in knowing what ideas you guys have. So leave a message in the comment if you have an idea of something that we could make here on the show. And this being the first of these videos, I don't really know how to end this, so until next time, remember, someday I'll have a catchphrase.